How much does the minimum wage need to increase to offset inflation? Have you ever wondered how much the minimum wage needs to rise to keep up with inflation? This is a pressing question for many workers and policymakers alike. Inflation affects everyone, especially those earning minimum wage. When prices go up, the purchasing power of wages can shrink, making it harder for workers to afford basic necessities. To fully offset inflation, the minimum wage must increase by at least the same percentage as the rise in the Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index measures the average change over time in prices paid by urban consumers for goods and services. For example, if inflation is 5% over a year, the minimum wage should also rise by 5% to maintain workers' purchasing power. Inflation erodes the real value of wages. Without increases, minimum wage earners struggle to afford the same goods and services they could before. From a liberal perspective, linking the minimum wage to inflation is vital. This connection helps protect low-income workers from declining living standards and reduces economic inequality. One common method to adjust wages for inflation is using the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. By increasing the minimum wage according to the Consumer Price Index inflation rate, the real wage remains stable. However, even when nominal minimum wages rise, they often fail to keep pace with inflation. This leads to a decline in real wages for minimum wage workers. For instance, recent minimum wage increases in various regions have struggled to fully offset inflation. This has resulted in reduced purchasing power for low-wage workers. Some policies implement gradual increases or partial indexing, which may only compensate for a fraction of inflation initially. This requires further adjustments over time to fully restore real wages. To calculate the necessary minimum wage increase, policymakers multiply the current minimum wage by 1 plus the inflation rate. For example, if the current minimum wage is $10 per hour and inflation is 6%, the minimum wage should rise to at least $10.60 per hour. From a liberal economic policy viewpoint, raising the minimum wage to match or exceed inflation supports consumer spending. It helps reduce poverty and promotes equitable growth without causing significant job losses. In essence, the minimum wage needs to increase by an amount at least equal to the inflation rate measured by indices like the Consumer Price Index. This adjustment is essential to maintain the real income of minimum wage workers and aligns with liberal goals of economic fairness and social protection.